Hey, pro organizers, it's Melissa. And if I just saw you in Texas this week, there's a better than average chance that you said to me, "Hey, there hasn't been a podcast out in a while." Factual. There hasn't been a podcast out in a while, but I'm back. No, for real. I feel like maybe the last time I said I was back and then I was gone again, but look, I'm back. I'm energized. I'm excited. And I have so many ideas of things that we're going to talk about in the next few weeks, months as we go into the end of 2025, which by the way is crazy. This year has been weird. It's been stressful, but it's also gone very fast. So I don't know. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, I just got back from the How To Summit and I had so many things swirling on around in my brain. I know I'm not alone in that because I've talked to lots of other people who feel the same way. And so yesterday I just said, "Hey, Cabri, we need to get on the podcast and talk about this." So we're bringing you a little bit of a recap. By the way, even if you weren't there, it's still a good listen. It's not a FOMO thing. It's not anything other than we want to talk about some of the things we learned and some of the things we brought back with us and some of the things that has our heads whirling that is going to really influence some of the content that we're putting out in the next few weeks and months. So I would love for you to listen. If you were there, I hope that you came up and said hi. It was such a wonderful event. I got so many hugs, which was so lovely. I am a hugger. I took so many pictures with so many people. Everyone was so happy and cheerful and wonderful and lovely. And I just appreciate it so much. So if you did come up to me and say hi, hello, hello, hello. If you didn't have a chance or if I missed you, please hit me up, email me, DM me. I would love to connect with you. So here is a little recap for you and a little taste of what's to come. In the end of the podcast, we talk about something that we're doing for October that you might want to participate in. So let's get going. Have a great day, organizers. Okay. When I texted you about doing this podcast today, you said, "Do I have to look a certain way?" And I responded, "I'm wearing 7 pounds of moisturizer, and I did not say I don't think I've brushed my hair in 3 days, but that's true. And I have a cardigan with dog hair all over it. So no, it doesn't matter what you look like because we're going to be on an audio platform. Is that okay with you, Cabri?
That is absolutely perfect.
This will not be going on YouTube. We are just going to keep it audio today. And why are we so tired?
We are recovering from a How To Summit hangover.
Yes. It's not a hangover in the traditional sense. It is a hangover in the sense of we took in so much information over the course of 3 days, so much information, met so many people, heard so many business names, heard so many stories. Like my brain legitimately was mushy. I'm flying home and I'm just like a little puddle. I thought I was going to have to be escorted off of the plane.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I was driving home and I was like, I just want peace and quiet. I don't want to talk to anybody. And I spent 6 hours driving home having more ideas and more thoughts about all the things I learned and all the people I met than I had originally planned. So it's lingering. It's taking me longer to decompress from How To Summit this year.
Yeah. So we decided we were going to talk about it and put it out on the internet because we feel like it'll help us process some things. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you have been sending me texts at all hour. We've been texting each other at very weird hours. Today I was awake at 4 in the AM. Um, just thinking about things because my brain's just going and yours is too. We've talked about How to Summit on this podcast many, many times. Give me your headlines from your perspective of what were the big things.
Okay, so I think core thing that came out of it, there was several different people having conversations at the summit about different ways to organize essentially. And really, it's the same thing that we've always done. It's just organizing with clients with ADHD or organizing for clients that are senior downsizing. And so for me, it was like, how do you take the core concepts of what we do on a day-to-day basis and turn them into a marketing strategy, ideally, that gives you some recession proofness to your business. That was like the biggest thing that I kept seeing, even people talking about photo organizing or small business organizing. And I'm like, all you're doing is figuring out new ways to market to create recession proofness in your business.
There are a lot of things you have to think about as an entrepreneur, a lot. And I do think just given the way the world is right now, some of the uncertainties, all of that, we have to be thinking about some of those bigger picture things. But the good news is about our business is the other thing that I saw is people doing super creative things and doing crazy good things in their business that I'm like, "Oh, that's a great idea." That I think it made me start to think about, "Oh my gosh, there it's not a one size fits all business in any way, shape, or form."
Oh, 1000%. That came up multiple times, and even to the point that I feel like my mind was kind of opened on certain things of like, "Oh, hey, you've always done it this way, but maybe you should try something new and different and a little uncomfortable."
I also felt like this year we talked about more, like, really tangible organizing things too. Like, I think in past years, it's been more about, like, the organizing as a business rather than like, in one of the sessions I'm thinking about specifically is Tracy McCubbin, who talked a lot about actually, like, taking away a little bit of the aesthetics of our business and really talking about the function of what we are doing for families and how we're changing them and talking about was it the 6 or the 7 types of clutter? I can't remember that she was talking about, like, the types of things that clients bring to an organizing session. There was a session about working with clients with ADHD, which you and I are both passionate about teaching people about, and so I think there was a lot more about, like, "Hey, let's not forget we're actually working with clients in their homes, and if you have a team, your team is working with those people." I think that was really good too, that we were reminding ourselves like, "Hey, what's our core job here?" And it is actually making people's lives better in their homes.
Yeah, I definitely think there was opportunity and maybe even a little bit of permission given, maybe that you didn't even know you needed to do things differently. I can tell you that after Tracy's segment that morning, that was like, it doesn't have to always look a certain way. Like, we're there to help our clients, and what is functional for them may not look the best on Instagram or Pinterest. Every single person at our table turned around and was like, "Thank you. I needed permission to be able to think that."
Yeah. And I do think that is a big thing of getting that permission. Like, I was standing there with someone who's a good friend of mine who was asking a question of a very successful big time organizer about how she does product. And this person was saying, "Oh, I don't do measurements beforehand. I don't bring anything to the client house. We go back a week later to do installations." And the person I was standing with is like, "Wait, what?" Because that's how I do things. And people look at me like I have 42 heads and I'm crazy. And this was someone who is a very well known big organizer who was saying, "Oh, no, no, that's not how we do things because we want to declutter with them. We want to know what we're containing. I don't bring anything and I shop for clients individually. I don't have a warehouse. I don't have a van. I don't have any of the things that some of the other people were talking about." And I think it's that permission. You do have the permission to do things whichever way you want. And please don't assume that someone at a much higher level than you is doing things vastly differently because they might not be.
No, they might not be. And also, we always talk about the financial transparency part. They may be making a lot more money in revenue, but taking home less in their actual pocket than some of the solo organizers who are doing it by themselves. So it's an important part to mention.
And you're mentioning solo organizers. That was another piece for me is there were a couple times that it was asked, like, who is organizing? So I always call it solo by choice, solo organizer by choice when I talk about my own business. But there were some questions about, hey, who's doing this solo versus who's doing it as a team? And there are a lot of people that are going out as solo organizers. And so that was like a huge takeaway for me is not everybody wants to build a team. Not everybody, I'm not alone in how I think and how I like doing things in my organizing business. It is very much, there are lots of people out there that just kind of want to be on their own and they might be working side by side with a client and they're excited about that. And we need more resources for those people as well.
That was a conversation over dinners and in mixer areas. Definitely more support for solo organizers. Solo by choice.
Yes. Or solo because they're not ready yet. And by the way, solo by choice is one thing, but solo and want to grow also another category. And that's the thing is like there are so many categories. And I'm just reminded again when I was talking to people, there are a billion categories of organizers. You know, there are organizers that are solo but don't necessarily love to declutter. They might just still want to do a beautiful pantry and not see their client. There are people that love the going deep in the psychology. There are people with teams that love going into the psychology. there is so much room in our business for whatever works for you.
Yep. No, I 1000% agree. It was a great summit and gave a lot of permissions to people from all different variations of business to operate it and manage it and build it how they choose to.
Yeah. Well, there were also a couple of different sessions where they were talking about building a community, like a small community of people that you can go to. And there were a couple of different sessions where even some of those groups of people that had come up were being interviewed about like the relationship that they have and how they really have each other to bounce things off of. And I talked about it a little bit in my main stage session too. Like you have to have a community of organizers. You have to have people that you can bounce things off of that you don't live with, that you don't have to explain things to. And there were a couple of different sets of women that got up there and talked about small communities that they have built with each other to support each other through the ups and downs of being in business. And I know you and I have that with each other and with other people. And just want to reiterate like how important that is for people.
It's huge. It's so important. And I mean, you see it. You get my random midnight text message of, oh crap, how do I fix XYZ? I did something wrong. It's good to have that support. I would even say in big scale. I like the small scale too, but I still love like our big group where we have lots of different voices, lots of different perspectives coming forth to give insight and encouragement. And community is powerful either way, but it's needed. If you don't have it, you need to find it.
If you need a community, we have one for you. I always say I'm biased. It's the loveliest group of people. It really is. But that's the thing I think I love about the summit is that sometimes people don't have that. And the summit gives them that ability to find those people, to find that unicorn that they've been looking for. But yeah, it's so, so important to have someone that is just really on your side and you can just say, oh my gosh, you will not believe what my stupid client did today. Sorry, we probably shouldn't call clients stupid, but sometimes we do.
It happens. We have those days where you just need to vent to somebody who gets it and understands what you're going through.
Yeah, totally. What about the workshop? So there were some main stage presentations, which I was honored to be able to do one of those. And then you and I taught a workshop together, which we're going to be talking about a lot more. We talked about AI, which is like a huge subject that we're going to be doing some more stuff on. But what were some of the workshops that you saw and like what kind of things did you bring from there?
I think a lot of the workshops dug into those specific types of organizing with clients. I know there were some that handled more of the back end stuff, but just seeing a different perspective. They had different speakers this year to handle the conversation on moves and relocations. And
Wow.
so it's just getting to see another viewpoint, how Brian and Randy from HomeSort do it versus the person who talked about it last year. You had tools and tips like the AI conversation. And I would say like, yes, we were up there giving the presentation, but there was people in the audience who were challenging me in ways that I maybe was not prepared for. And that was fabulous in its own way.
Listen, we're not going to go into a ton of details because we'll do another podcast on it, but our AI presentation, I'll tell you the one main thing, and we did it 3 different times, and in each session, we had people that were like, hey, have you ever used it for this? Have you ever used it for this? There was one that really stuck with me, and it was a woman who said that she takes pictures of her potential clients' spaces, and then she has ChatGPT basically take the stuff out of them and gives them an after picture of their own space without all of the stuff in it. And she said people just throw money at me when they see that and are like, we're ready to start. Let's get going. And I have not personally tried that yet because frankly, I have been recovering still. We're taping this on Saturday afternoon, but that to me was like one of the biggest things. I'm like, oh my gosh, that has never occurred to me. And that's again the benefit of people getting together and talking about some of these things of like, oh my gosh, did that ever occur to you? And you're like way higher end on AI than I am.
I had never used AI like that, but it's funny. So we came back and immediately had a meeting with our team just to kind of tell them the highlights, get them acclimated with some of the things that we saw changes that would be coming over the next quarter. And so I actually was trying to show that to them. And we were just sitting in my dining room. And so I took a picture and I said, change out the light, add some wallpaper. I want to reupholster the chairs, whatever. And it produced a photo that I could actually visualize that in my own house. And so I was like, okay, this has merit. It has legs to walk on. Like it could be powerful if you know how to use it correctly. So I'm excited to kind of explore that more to see how we could create those visual mock-ups for clients almost instantaneously.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about it a little bit ago, but there was a workshop session easy for me to say, specifically on ADHD, which I talked about in my main stage presentation. I talked about the 7 things that I've learned about organizing. And one of the biggest things that I said is people have got to learn about ADHD. We no longer have the luxury of just saying like, hey, whatever, I have a client with ADHD. How do I handle them? Like, the getting deep in an ADHD session workshop, I think, was really important too, because we have so many women that are coming to us now with those diagnoses.
1000%. And I also think it's important to mention, I think your presentation was the one that said 44% are diagnosed. Of course, you yourself are self-diagnosed.
I
On
am
Prospect.
diagnosed, as I like to say.
You're what diagnosed?
I like to say I'm undiagnosed and untreated, but I am TikTok diagnosed as ADHD.
Yes, and I'm sure there's more people out there that are in the same boat, but we were talking about how people with ADHD also organize and have the same maybe brain patterns and, like, struggle pain point when it comes to people who may not have ADHD, but are in seasons of life that are extremely disorganized. They can present the same way, and so we need to be able to talk to ideal clients or potential ideal clients for both options, especially if they look the same.
Yeah. Well, and also I think it's not just ADHD, we use that as a convenient thing, but it's really just the overall phrase of neurodivergence. We have a rise in clients that are getting their kids diagnosed with various things, from ADHD to autism spectrum, and we need to be able to support them. So even if the mom isn't, even if the family isn't, they might have kids who are, and just being able to understand that, understanding the patterns of how they go about things, how they go about decision making, how their brains work, so that we can create systems that help them with that. And you and I were talking about something before we got on the podcast where making sure team members, you have team members and lots of people have team members. So you might have some team members that have a better affinity with those conditions than others, and making sure that your team is ready to work with people too. Super critical.
Yeah, that was one of the very first training topics we talked about yesterday, just to make sure everybody has their own organizing style, and we've always recognized that, but making sure that our organizers are truly putting the client first and their needs first and creating systems that are going to function for them. For someone who is very type A, maybe even OCD, very organized, you're probably gonna do things very, very differently for a client who has ADHD. And I have always said, like, I'm the perfect example. I go into clients' homes and I can fold everything and put it in the drawer. I can color code everything in your closet. In my own house, it's t-shirts and leggings, and then, socks, underwear, bras, they're just thrown in the bin. I'm not folding it. I'm not taking the time. I don't care about it, but
Matter.
I recognize that I have a different organizing style than maybe my clients even.
Yeah. I just had a complete flashback to a client who had tremendous ADHD, but it manifested in a very specific way where she was actually hyper organized. She felt like she had to be hyper organized in order to help her ADHD brain. And I remember she got in a fight. Those times with clients where you're like, I think I might step out. I'll just be in the hallway for a couple minutes. But she and her husband were getting in a fight because she was telling him that he also had to fold his things. She wanted everything very proper, the Marie Kondo way, and he had to fold his things that way, and he's like, "I'm not doing it." And I just finally stopped, and I just said, "If you want it this way so badly, are you willing to take responsibility for also putting away all of his things?" She goes, "No, I would never." I go, "Okay, then he gets to put things away the way he wants to." And that might be throwing them in a bin. The throwing them in the bin thing it works fine, by the way. I had a boatload of laundry upstairs just a little bit ago that I didn't feel like doing anything with, and I'm like, "They're leggings. There's nothing that can happen to them. They're all going thrown in a drawer. I don't care."
I
So
also think when you have clients like that and they want it to look a specific certain way, but are not willing to maintain it, guess what? You have another way to sell to them. Offer them maintenance services. Add another layer of
yeah.
recession-proofing your business.
Listen, I'm gonna be totally honest with this particular client. I would not have wanted to give them a maintenance package, but if you are game, that is an awesome, awesome way to go about it, is I'll do your laundry for you. But by the way, that's another service that I just want to throw out there, especially as we talk about recession proofing our businesses and, just really like growing our business. So let's just say nothing happens in the financial world, making sure our businesses are good. I'm telling you, think about concierge services. I do concierge services for clients and I absolutely love it. My favorite example is I once got paid $187 to go get someone's oil changed. It was worth it to her.
So I did not go to that workshop, but Laura did, my lead organizer, because she was there with me. And that was her biggest takeaway. I mean, when I say that that woman was writing a business plan on how to add that service to our business on the way home on Thursday, I mean, by Friday morning, she was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to launch it. This is what she had it all planned out and it never once had even crossed my mind. So that was another big one that I think that a lot of people had really good takeaways from.
Yeah. I'm telling you, just laundry when I think about a lot of my clients, just laundry service alone, if you just said, "We'll come into your house all day on a Saturday or all day on a Friday rather, and we will just do laundry and fold laundry and put it away." I think that you can make a bang up business doing that if you have people that love doing laundry.
Yeah.
Like, I weirdly do.
I don't. I will hire you to do my laundry, though.
I like to okay, here's the thing. I like doing the laundry. I do not love putting the laundry away.
That's where I struggle, and that's also I mean, we have some clients that we do that for the same reason. They don't put it away or they don't put it up away correctly, and so it's just easier for us to do it, especially we set up the system. It's easier for us to maintain it, and so I really need to hire my team to just come do that in my own home.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't like it for myself. When I'm getting paid $100 an hour to do it, I love it. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Give me the all day I'll fold shirts all day long, I don't care. I will make sure those leggings look stunning in that drawer." I will when someone's paying me, I do a great job at it, but
Isn't it the whole, like, the mechanic's car that's broken and
yeah,
that's now, like, we're not
up
organizing our own home?
yes, exactly. Well, I just overall, I just felt like I always leave the summit and one of the things that Brandy and Ryan said each year that they've been on the podcast when we've been talking about the summit, if you leave with one idea, the summit has paid for itself. I left with probably too many ideas. I left with so many ideas. I'm just like, I have so many things that I want to go implement. I have so many things that I want to talk to organizers about. There are so many things I want to podcast. There are so I left with so many really tangible things this year, and I felt really good about it. And it was so nice to see people, and we had I haven't even counted. We had so many people from our inspired organizer group there, and it's lovely to be able to, someone like interacting with someone on a Zoom screen on our twice a month Zooms is very different than getting to hug them in person and talk about, their kids and their dogs and their businesses and all the things. I left with just like the warmest heart feeling.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was fabulous. I did have maybe just as many ideas and fabulous conversations outside of the actual workshop summit hours as I did in the room, which was even better. So we have an amazing group and they all brought their A game when it came to some of the conversations and topics that we were discussing.
Oh yeah. Okay. We had a great time. The end. We're not going to make people who didn't get to go feel badly for not going. What we are going to do is we are going to take the things that we learned and make content out of that because that's what we do here. We're going to give you all of the learning, even if you weren't able to be there. So one of the things that Cabri and I will be doing is we haven't decided how we're going to put it together yet, but we're going to put together some sort of workshop on the AI presentation that we did because we got really good feedback on it. I will just laugh though and say I went out to dinner with Brandy and Ryan the last day of the summit after everything was over. And they were like, "Hey, how'd your workshop go?" And I was like, "Oh, I felt like it went really well." And they're like, "Well, did you get good feedback?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, to our face. Like, does anyone say mean things to your face?" I'm like, "Behind your back, I don't know." But everyone was telling us that they loved it and it like really made them think a lot. So you and I are going to do some sort of a workshop on AI, but you and I came up with an idea that we are very excited about that we want people to participate in. And it is based on something, it's been on the podcast a couple of times. But a few years ago, I had a client who told me about this thing she does called Boss October. And it's basically in October, she does all the things that she's been hating and putting off for the longest time. And she makes herself do it. She gets her insurance redone. She does house projects. She does all the things that she's been kind of forgetting about for the rest of the year so that she can enjoy the rest of the year. And she calls it Boss October. And you and I are going to do something a little different with Boss October.
We are actually going to be inviting you, other people in our Inspired Organizer program or Organizing Essential program to join us. Essentially, it's going to be an added layer of community and accountability to go through, retouch base on the basics and on the foundation aspects of our business, but also go through and implement some of the things that are currently being taught inside Pro Organizer Studio. So a little bit of both accountability, a little bit of just get your butt in gear and do it, a little bit of having a community if you have questions that come up, just all of those things so that we can go into quarter 4, getting all of the foundations situated, squared away to make 2026 the best year ever.
We want to give you that foundational piece that then you could go in directly. You are ready on January 1st, 2026. I almost said January 1st, 2027. We want you to get set up and be able to go into the first part of 2026 with a locked in business. So we are going to be going through, hey, what are some of your fundamentals, some of your foundations? What are some of the high level things? Are you doing X, Y, and Z? We are going to get into the weeds and give you the time to be able to fix those things in your business that you might have been putting off for a long time. I know I have things in my business that look like that. In case you think I'm perfect, I'm not. Cabri, are you perfect at your business?
Oh, God, absolutely not.
Businesses, I should say. We both have multiple businesses.
Absolutely not.
And so it's a really helpful thing for us to be able to go through as well in our own businesses. So we would love for you to join us. We'll have a little bit more information about that. If you are not on our mailing list, I would love for you to be, because that's how you can find out all these things in addition to being on the podcast. So please go to proorganizerstudio.com. I will give you a super easy way on our homepage to get signed up for that challenge. And we would love for you to join us for Boss October, for people who really are bosses. Because we are. Even if we don't want to be.
There are days that I do not want to be, but this is my put on your big girl panties. It's time. Let's do the thing. Get over it.
You have to be a boss. That's why we're recording a podcast on Saturday afternoon, because this is the time that we have to do it. This is what happens when you own your own business. Sometimes you have to do things even when you don't feel like them. So,
and I mean, just coming off of Summit Week, the time is now. The momentum and energy is there. If we don't jump in head first now, I'm not going to do it. So we have to do it.
Yeah. I always do better when I am at my most enthusiastic, right? Like right now, the reason that you and I haven't been sleeping the last few nights is because we have so many ideas, because we saw so many people and we thought about so many things and we learned so many things that we're like, oh my gosh, I have this idea and this idea. I need to go do it now, because otherwise that enthusiasm will start to dim and I'll be like, or I could just sit on my couch and eat Halloween candy. And
yes, that exactly.
Because it's almost time for that as well in the middle of football season.
Yes.
Okay, Cabri, where can people find you in the universe?
Instagram, Minimize and Organize. It's where we hang out. It's where I like to spend the majority of my time. Okay, that's a lie. I say Instagram, but I also spend a lot of time in the Inspired Organizer coaching group on Facebook. That is my secondary location, and I'm spending more and more time there because we had so many fabulous conversations from Summit. Everybody has follow-up questions, and I'm like, ooh, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So if you are interested in joining us in our wonderful community of people, that's another thing you can do. Just reach out to us, hello@proorganizerstudio.com, and I will be happy to answer all of your questions. All right, Cabri, good to see you on a Saturday afternoon. Although no one is ever going to, the video of this will never see the light of day.
Thank the Lord.
Neither of us, look at the summit, you have to be on, right? Like your hair has to look nice and your outfit has to look nice. This is not where we are operating, either of us today. We are not operating at our highest. So if you really want to, if someone's willing to pay, I'll give you the video, but otherwise you don't want it.
So, please don't anybody pay.
All right. We will see you really soon for Boss October.
That last little ramble, you started talking really fast, and I'm like, we didn't even mention that we got in trouble for talking too fast.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I totally forgot about that. We did get in trouble for talking too fast. Who was it that said, she was like, I feel like you're speaking French. You're going too fast. And I'm like,
catch up. Turn your ears on.
Pinky, who knows us? And she should know that we just talk fast. That's what we do.
And we just get really excited. We start talking with our hands and you can't understand a single thing that we're saying.
I'll just live with it. And I'm definitely putting that in the podcast. So.
Hmm.
All right. I'm going to go get to work.
Okay.
I will see you later.
Hey,
Thanks, friend.
bye. Bye.